True 360 family, welcome into the Unlock Your Game podcast, episode 8. Coach Blake and I are bringing you all some really good conversation today regarding our preseason work and upcoming to our tryouts and our regular season and what we can kind of be looking to get better at and what we can kind of be looking forward to. And hopefully we can provide you all with everything so there's no surprises when you all get in the gym with your coaches.
Yeah, we had a great conversation with Maxie, our last episode. If you hadn't been able to check it out, go look at it. But yeah, we're getting closer to basketball season, getting ready for those tryouts. So it's an episode. Get ready for this time of the year for sure.
Absolutely. And Coach Blake and I we will not skip over football season for our football lovers, but it is getting into basketball season, and we really just want to have you all prepared and give you all as much information going into the season as possible to help you all be successful. And that's been our goal for our members since day one, and that's what we're going to hope to bring today. So I really look forward to it.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first off, just kind of going over today our preseason focus. For our athletes that are listening, our parents that are listening that can share this with your athletes. Our first things first is we kind of want to go over what are your coaches looking for from you in your open gyms and your tryouts leading up to the season. And yeah, that can be really vague. There are a lot of things that I think coaches are looking for, but we've kind of pinpointed some things that we have seen and heard other coaches talk about that kind of set you apart that we really feel like we could share with you all today and help you all set apart from others in your open gyms and your tryouts. For me, Coach Blake, it's got to be the biggest thing is a positive attitude. Everybody loves the kid, loves the athlete that comes into the gym smiling, ready to go, no complaints, no open gym too hard, no workout too long. Everything is a process for them, and they're looking to get better, and they enjoy all of it. And then there's the positive attitude it's infectious. It continues to encourage your teammates to play hard, work hard, take advantage of these opportunities right now when it can seem kind of, I wouldn't want to say pointless, but aimless. You don't really know what you're working towards, but you're just kind of coming in and you have these workouts and these open gyms, but every day matters. And so that positive attitude sets that focus for us.
Most definitely. You can be the most, we've talked about it on here, you can be the most talented person in the world, but if you come in like you're don't even really care to talk to your teammates, you're just going in, go straight to that 3-point shot and just jacking up shots. And it's like, I don't need to get form shooting up. I've done that enough. But it's everything goes into how you approach your work ethic. Like if you go into your practice and you're just sitting in there by yourself over to the side, it's a lot harder to build up that team chemistry as opposed to when you just jump straight into that game. You're talking to your teammates, you're getting into drills with them. You might do some pregame or some pre-practice warm-ups with them, but there's definitely a lot of different ways that you can work on just the way you approach that game.
100%. And then kind of rolling off of that positive attitude coming in, I've got on here a loud voice. Especially if you're trying to make a team or you're trying to enhance a role, that's a good way for you to get noticed. It's that simple. You're talking on defense, you're communicating with your teammates, you're communicating with your coaches, you're loud, you're excited, you're ready to go, you're vocal. That's a way to stand out. And I'll be honest, in this generation, in this day of basketball, vocalization on the court it's at a low. A lot of kids are a little bit more to themselves, and the highlights kind of take over the small things that we want to focus on in basketball. And that loud voice provides a opportunity. It's one of the basics, but it can put you over top in your tryouts, your open gyms, get you on more games, get you on better teams in your open gym. So you feel like your opportunities are increasing instead of, again, as we talked about, just kind of having those aimless open gyms where your attitude isn't really right. But that loud voice can give you a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. I've talked to a couple of parents just inside the facility at Shoot 360, and one thing they've always talked about is like, yeah, these kids, they love to talk, but when they get on a basketball court, they mute. And it's like they just don't, they'll miss a lot of help defensive side, and it's like they completely don't talk, and it hurts the entire team. And you see these teams that are just people talk about a Louisville basketball practice and just how it's the loudest place in the area. And you hear them talking, obviously they weren't projected to be as good as they were last year, but you saw how close they were together. You saw how hard they worked together. You saw how loud they were, and it all came together. And that's where they were all basically like brothers. And that's where that relationship came in. They were in there from the very beginning. They built that relationship up, and they exceeded expectations by far. And that sets a pedestal of like, we've set that culture. We know what we're looking for. And this is really the ground of where we're going to build it from.
100%. And kind of bringing up last year's Louisville team, you can kind of see where lack of communication and enhanced communication took over throughout the season. And when Louisville had its shortcomings throughout the season, it was a lot of defensive lack of communication. A lot of guys not talking about ball screen coverages.
Creighton game was
Yep,
all filled with it.
100%. And understanding what we're trying to do on defense to stop different guys. And you could even tell it when they played Duke or when they played Tennessee. You know, a lot of different things came into the communication side of it. And communication is that important. And we're not picking on them because, I mean, they won 27 games and went to the ACC tournament in their first season. But it's or the first time ever in their program history. But you're just kind of sitting there wondering, you know, and it's just a perfect example, what could have been if the lack of communication in those big time moments doesn't come up. And that's where you stand out to coaches, is when your communication is so on point and you're ready to go and you're always making sure that you're aware of your surroundings. I'll often even tell my guys, I'll be like, look, I don't care what you even say. I just want you guys to talk. I want to hear something. I don't want to go through this 4-on-4 shell drill where there's no words being said whatsoever. You can say blah, 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 blah for all I care, but I want to hear something. So the foundation is set, that how important communication is, and it 100% can set you apart from your teammates and other teams, and it'll creates a lot of success. But again, in that preseason, it's going to create a lot of opportunities for you to advance on your team, make a team, and just shows the coaches how much you care.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
My last thing, Coach Blake, for this is our ability to learn and move on. It's really, really hard in this season to kind of have that learning focused mindset because there's so much going on and the pressure is so amplified for a lot of players. Again, as we talked about, you're either trying to make your team, you're trying to crack the rotation, you're trying to be the number one guy. A lot of different things are at stake, a lot of different roles are up for grabs, and your ability to learn and then move on from it and not allow failure to be something that isn't a learning opportunity, but it's just, I'm not good enough. That's not going to get it done. And I promise you're going to have a lot of those moments, especially, trust me, I know how it is right now. It's 100 degrees outside. You go to your open gym, then you go work out, and then coach says, hey, let's go run on the track. Or for our younger athletes, you know, your coach, you guys do an open gym for 45 minutes, your coach says, let's go run it down back outside. And you're just kind of being pushed to your limits. And coaches want to see perseverance. They want to see your ability to learn and move on from failure. And sometimes a drill is going to be telling you to quit, but you just got to keep going. And learning from that and building that character is super, super important in this time of the preseason, because I promise you, for a lot of us, and trust me, I've been there before, it's the most stressful part of your season. Not the big game that has 3,000 fans in the stands, not the tournament game, it's winner or go home. It's these moments right here that build that foundation for those, but also build your character and show your coach what you're willing to do to be successful. And so our mindset to learn and move on and learn from failure is super important. And I always love this, and I go by this: you either win or you learn. And I'm sure you've heard that, Coach Blake, at some point or another, but I truthfully believe that. But you can learn in winning as well. So it's all comes together. But just having a learning mindset, a positive attitude, and your ability to be vocal through those, put those three together, I really think you're going to give yourself an opportunity, and coaches are going to see that.
Most definitely. When I was going like back on 7th, 8th grade, going through high school, it's like at the very beginning, I didn't have a coach that really set me down and said, "Hey, I need you to do this for our team. This is how you're going to play." And so at first, I would go out there and I thought I was a scorer. So I'd go out there and I would shoot 10 times a game and I would get taken out of the game. It's like, why am I not playing? And I had a coach set me down the year later. He's like, "You're one of our best defensive players. I need you to go out there and just play as hard as you can on defense." And so when I heard that, everything clicked. I went out there, I played as hard as I possibly could on defense. I would play a minute or two longer, and then I'd get subbed back in quicker. And that's just because I was able to learn what I did for that team, learn my role. And at first, I was like, does he not believe in? I mean, you're here to score points. Does he not believe I'm a good basketball player? And then that's where I kind of learned is like, okay, I can pass the ball a lot better than I can shoot. I can play defense a lot better than I can do both of those. And so that's where it kind of clicked. Is like, okay, this is where I can kind of learn my role, and that changed my whole perspective then on.
100%. And that's that ability to learn and move on, and kind of maybe not even in that moment accepting failure, but accepting that your role has changed, that your attitude, your mindset has changed. And that's a tough realization as well. And anything you're doing, when you think you're really good at one thing, but you're confronted and told you probably be best doing this, it can be an eye-opening opportunity. And especially when you're given the opportunity to make the change, that's always not the case. That's just a perfect example of, learning from your coach and taking that different kind of perspective on it. And your coach is providing you with an opportunity to get more minutes and stay in the game. And it's not that easy to switch up your mindset from what you thought you were going to be doing to now what a coach is asking you to do, which is the complete opposite of being that scorer that you thought you were going to be. And then he's asking you to sit down on defense and make the ball move on offense. And that's just a great, perfect example for our members and our athletes and our parents, that it's not always about that. It's about what are you able to do to create more opportunities for you to be successful. And that's what that is, 100%. And as we talk about that, just kind of rolling into this next part, what will set you apart at your tryouts specifically? Um, Now, we talked about this a little bit, kind of what coaches are going to be looking for, but we kind of want specifics on what will set you apart, as all those can kind of be a little vague, the positive attitude, making sure that your ability to learn to move on, but what specifics can you control? And so the first thing for me is attitude and effort. And so what I mean by that is going back to that positive attitude, but when we're looking at effort, diving on loose balls, playing hard defense, winning every sprint. And if you can't win sprints, for the people out there like me, you run the sprint as hard as you possibly can, and you try and win. Touching the line every time you run a sprint. Every time you do a drill or a training or a workout, you are the sweatiest, hardest working, never skip a rep person in that workout. When you run your mile around the track, you run it so hard that when you get done, you have to lay on the ground for 10 minutes. Just your maximum exertion of effort will set you apart. And those are exact examples. I have been in tryouts before, grading kids on and whether they were going to make our team or not. And those things put them over the edge, and it set the tone and the culture for our team that season. And the kids who put forth the effort got opportunities. And the kids who decided that their basketball was enough saw their opportunities go away. And coaches value your effort. They value how hard you're willing to work. And those are the exact specifics. Boxing out every time. And even, I'm not even a believer in boxing out, Coach Blake. I'm not a huge, that's not my fundamental jam. I think if you go run around and chase the ball enough, you'll get enough rebounds to win the game, and limit the other people from getting them. But if you show somebody how bad you want it, you're willing to do every single little fundamental thing and willing to go after every single defensive rebound, you're going to be successful. crash the board on offense, get offensive rebounds. You're going to be successful. Do those small things that effort is required to accomplish at a high level, and you'll set yourself apart in your tryouts.
Yeah, that just brought up a thing that I just thought of. We talked to, shout out to Coach Terrence again in our podcast. We've got a podcast where we interview some of his former teammates and other Louisville players. We talked to Shane Bohannon, and he said that we asked him just about how Coach Pitino would get on him, because obviously Coach Pitino was known as having that very strict mentality. If you do anything wrong, you're getting sent to the treadmill and you're running until you can't possibly run anymore. And we asked Shane, like, did you have any of those moments for you? And he's like, honestly, the thing that he would get on me about was boxing out. But he's like, I'm so athletic, like, I'm going to get that ball out of the air. And he's like, there's a couple times he sent me to the treadmill, but I played so hard. I didn't have the fundamentals or anything, but he saw how hard I was playing, as opposed to just going in there and just going and just literally participating through practice, just lackadaisical. He saw how hard he would put that work in, and he knew, he's like, all right, he's giving his effort. I don't have to just throw him on a treadmill to make him give that effort. He was giving that full-blown effort right there.
And I mean, that's just a small sample size, right? I mean, I've heard some crazy stories about Shane and how hard his work ethic was. And I'll just share a little snippet. I don't know if he shared this with you all, but I was once with a former player that was alongside him. We were talking about Shane and his work ethic, and, he's a little bit undersized to play the four, but he gave it everything he had. And he said the first couple practices, it was the same thing. Shane wasn't doing a box out drill correctly. He was just moving people out of the way and going to get rebounds. And, that's, for me, that's, as a coach, I'd be fine with that. As long as you get the ball, I don't really care how you get it. Just go get it. Go get the rebound. And he said he sent Shane over to the treadmill, and Shane got on the treadmill and was sprinting at the speed. He was running so fast that the treadmill couldn't keep up. And he got on that and ran for 10 minutes straight, like just running. Like he was seeing red. And he ran until that treadmill couldn't take anymore. And he said when Shane got off the treadmill, he came back into the rebounding drill and didn't box out again, and went up and grabbed a rebound and then sprinted the full length of the floor and punched it. And Coach Pitino was like, okay, all right.
That's what he learned.
That's what he got. Okay. So, I mean, it's about your effort. It's about your willingness to dig down deep and just make it happen sometimes. The fundamentals aside, sometimes you just got to make it happen. And that's one of those examples of your effort can take over and kind of not necessarily demean the fundamentals, but your willingness to do something outside of the box while also understanding that it's important to stay in the box is more so just that screams at tryouts, and that screams in open gyms that this kid really wants it. This athlete wants to get better. And so just kind of rolling into our next point, I know this is a little bit vague, but again, we're given answers for this. Coaches want to see consistency. And so let me give you a coach consistency for you so that everyone understands what I'm saying. I'm not saying go 4 for 10 from 3 every practice. You're the first one there, last one to leave. You're the player that's taking everyone through stretches every single day. You're the player that runs and does the warm-up as hard as possible. Every time a coach is speaking, your eyes are on them. They're locked. They're not going anywhere else. You're intentionally listening, wanting to get better. That is consistency. That's giving yourself the opportunity to do the same thing every time. We're not all going to shoot 4 for 10 every single day or 6 for 10 from the field. We're not going to go 10 for 10 from the free throw line every day. Physical errors happen, but mental errors are just, they're not excusable. There's no excuse for a mental error, because if you are focused and you're paying attention and you're willing to give everything you have, your mental and your focus will be there. Physical errors will happen, but your mental has to be there. You have to be focused and ready to go.
Shoot 360 family, we just want to reiterate to you all, we have our upcoming girls pro and advanced skills clinic with Coach Deja and Coach Jalen. No introduction needed. We've talked about this before, but We'll have the numbers up on the screen. We just really want you all to get signed up and really take advantage of this new opportunity.
And step aside here, go back to Shoot 360. That's what we're here to do, right? When you talk about building your form, coming and getting a good warm up in before practice even starts, you build those habits here. You get the drills from us. You learn how to do all of that here. And so that's why we really value our gym and our facility and what we do here for you. But we also do this because we have people who have been there and done that before. And we're here to help you and walk you through your tryouts and everything. And so, kind of rolling in to our next thing, we've gotten through tryouts, we've gotten to our open gyms. Our coaches have expressed or have not expressed roles for us this upcoming season. And we kind of want to walk everyone through, how do you approach both scenarios? How do you approach if a coach has given you a role or has not? And for me, really simple. I loved, again, going back to the vocalize. I love when my players would vocalize with me, "Hey, coach, what are your intentions with my game this upcoming year?" And I would always encourage my players to share that with me, to be vulnerable. Always feel like you can come talk to me about kind of where is the direction you see me going for this season. And so when it comes to a coach has already expressed a role, hey, we really want you to get your shooting right and work on your form and make sure that you're a really good catch and shoot. Hey, we really want you to be a really good defender for us and rebound the basketball. Hey, we really want to put you in the game because we know the offense is going to run and we're going to get really good sets and really good shots. Hey, we put you in the game because you're a spark plug. You're going to get us points really quick. You're going to bring energy to everybody. But even though you might be one of our best players, you're coming off the bench. These are a lot of different scenarios that a lot of kids are faced with from their coaches. And what I would tell you is perfect your role. If you want to expand your role, you have to perfect your role. You have to do your role to a T, and you have to be willing to make sure that that role is the only thing that you're willing to do. Don't try and step outside. Don't try and show more than you can do. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, from a coach's perspective, they have their mind made up. They've shared this with you because that's what they want from you. They don't want more. They definitely don't want less. They want you to fill your role and be the player that they know you can be. So perfect your role. If you're that catch and shoot guy, you shoot 200 catch and shoot threes total after practice every day. If you're the defensive guy, you play defense and you take defensive drills super, super serious. But here's where I don't want you to get this confused. The other stuff doesn't lack either. While you're perfecting your role and your focus is on your role, the opportunities for you to grow your role and get advanced in your role are also taking those other parts of the practice serious. That's where your role grows. That's how you get better. So there's a little bit of a mixed bag there of how much do you focus on perfecting your role versus how much do I really try and step out of my comfort zone and make a little bit more of it. And so what I would always encourage is perfecting your role first, and then you grow after that and you continue to build onto your foundation.
Yeah, love that. And I mean, we kind of talked about it as like from my example, I didn't really, the first time I kind of heard that feedback, I didn't really know what to do with it. That was the first time I'd really been sat down and been given a role. And so that's where I sat down and I was like, okay, this wasn't told to me just to diminish what I'm trying to do. This is to get the absolute most out of me. And so once that clicked and I was seeing everything that he was saying on the court, it's like, okay, if I'm in that spot right there, yeah, that could help me. If I move that pass one more, we've got a wide open shot in the corner. So all these things I would see from the side, it would start to click. And then once I'd be able to get in that game, it would just be all full steam rolling.
So Coach Blake, I'll ask you this kind of for our athletes, what if a coach shares with you a role that they want you to fill that maybe you're going to really struggle with? Like, and I say this as you're going to struggle doing it. Like you're probably going to mess up a couple times. It's going to be something that's really out of your comfort zone you're not used to. What would you kind of tell one of our athletes to kind of be prepared for that moment?
Well, it's going to be new. So we're going to mess up naturally. So that's just where you've got to keep that positive mindset. If once you mess up a couple times, and you cannot get down on yourself mentally, because it's going to be so new, you're going to be feeling just off. You've got to make sure, all right, this is the next one. I've got this next one. If you don't get it yet, ask questions. Keep asking questions. Ask your teammates questions who might have a similar role. Like, hey, what do you see here? What can I look for? You can look up players, YouTube. You can go on countless hours of YouTube and look up players that might have that same exact role. Say that you're wanting to be your coach wants you to be a specifically defensive specialist, an on-ball defensive specialist. You can look up Matisse Thybulle defensive highlights and just figure out how he gets in those certain spots. That's the reason he's supposed to be out there. If you're somebody out there just trying to distribute the pass, go look at, I mean, you can look at John Stockton, who's just a little 6-foot guy going around all these 6'4" guys who can just block him any day of the week. But he's sitting there, he's 2 steps ahead of, he sees somebody flash, he's already know he's going to have 2-3 options right off of that pass. So it's just being a sponge, trying to learn as much as you possibly can. And it's okay to mess up at the beginning. You're there to mess up. It's practice. You're not going to feel comfortable in a role that you've never been in before. So that's where you just keep build up, because what they're saying is the best thing for you and that team right there. So you just got to listen to it and just go full steam ahead for sure.
Yep. And again, and I just, to kind of throw something in there, you're also gonna be on teams where win now is the objective. So you might not have the same patience that some coaches might have on your failures, but you continue to push. Coach might be getting on you. Coach might be pushing your buttons. Coach might be trying to get something out of you, but you continue to keep working. You continue to push through. You're going to be held to a standard of excellence and a standard of, doing it till you get it right. Keep working. Stay focused. Keep doing it till you get it right. And you're going to see your opportunities flourish. And just kind of pivoting, haven't touched on, what do you do if a coach hasn't shared with you what your role is going to be? And for me as a coach, if I ever wouldn't share with an athlete, and normally I always try to do my best, that I sat down before the season started with every athlete and share with them, hey, what do I kind of see for you this summer or this upcoming season, and what can we kind of work on throughout the season that might be able to expand your role or perfect your role. But if it's not shared, I think the answer is pretty simple. You let your coach know, hey, I really want to know how to get better for this upcoming season and what I can do best for the team. And so, what do you see my role being for this team this upcoming season? And a coach is either going to tell you right then and there, or they're going to need to think on it a little bit. Maybe they haven't done that evaluation yet for their team, and they're trying to figure out what that role might be. But they're gonna give you an answer. No one's just gonna tell you, no, that's a terrible question. I can't believe you would ever ask that. How about you just do whatever I say? Um, a coach is going to give you a defined role because they're going to see that you like structure and you want to know how to get better and to perform the best you can perform for this team. So you blatantly just ask. Now there's a wrong way to do this. If you ask a coach, hey, what's my role? I think it should be this. Not a lot of coaches like getting told what to do by the players. I have a few exceptions when players might see things on the court that I'm not seeing, and we'll try it, but I don't know. That's about it. That's about where that stops, Coach Blake. So for me, there is a right and wrong way. You have to be delicate about it because coaches, a lot's going on. They're trying to get ready for the season, or you're in the season and roles might still not be specific yet. You're trying to play through them, figure it out. You have to be tender about the conversation. You have to approach the coach in a respectful way, maybe before or after practice, and you just kind of share with them, hey, coach, I'd really like to know how I can best perform and do my best for this team. What do you see my role being? And they'll have an answer for you. Going into what I had put together, I put a little acronym together for ready, to get ready for our season, and just kind of set something for our athletes and our parents to maybe share with our players at home. Anyone who's listening that really wants to feel like they can get expanded and be prepared for this upcoming season, I put a little acronym together. And so for our R and ready, I have responsible with your preparation. And so for that, we're making sure that we have a specific way we warm up before we start every practice. We have a specific workout routine for ourselves after every practice, whether it's to get up 300 shots or it's to shoot 100 free throws after practice, or whether it's before practice. I have to do my form and rhythm shooting. I have to go through a ball handling routine. I have to go through my own stretching routine to make sure that I'm physically ready or mentally ready. Maybe you want to read a couple strong, encouraging quotes before practice, or you want to dive into some sort of leadership learning book that's going to help you learn how to lead your team better. Something that's going to put you ahead of every other team you're going to compete against. That's something that is you're responsible for in that preparation of getting ready for games, practices, long weeks, etc.
I love that. I mean, you basically touched on everything that I was going to say for it. So, I mean, you crushed that one for sure.
Come on, Coach Blake. It's you know how it is. Once I get going, I can't stop. But next, we're moving on to our E in ready.
Enthusiastic for the grind. Coach Blake, it's a long season. You've been working out since May. You got about a month off after your season was done in March. You got a month off in April, and you're here. You're here for the grind now. From May to March, you're in the grind of it. Open gyms, trainings, practices, etc. You have to have the mindset, that positive mindset we talked about. You have to be enthusiastic for the grind. You have to want to be ready to learn, grow, and expand your game and be ready for the grind ahead. There are going to be days where you're physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. We have got to push through, wake up every day, and be enthusiastic for the grind.
Yeah, and we've talked about in our earlier podcast about if you're not putting work in, the days you're not, somebody else is, and that doesn't have to mean of just going in there and just being strictly getting up shots every single day, getting in that weight room. You can have a recovery day. You can take 1, 2 days, 3 days to yourself and figure out, all right, I'll go get a massage this day. Really things that keep you mentally and physically into it to where you're not just strictly 24/7 on a basketball court. You can still figure out other ways to get you ready for that season that's just not going to mentally deplete you by the time you get ready for your tryouts, ready for your season. You've already been going so many months strong. It's like you want to build up through that whole time and no, I am here. I'm ready to be here. I'm ready to go.
100%. And what I have through some training, and I read this in a book, SEALs, when they go through training, and I just want to share this. I know we're not going through Navy SEAL training or anything. It's not that kind of grind, but it's a grind. I mean, you're still physically pushing yourself, and you're going to have weeks like this or months where it just kind of, you're tired of it, you're weary, you've worked hard, you might not be seeing the reward that you've kind of been working towards. And he shared this, and they share this with the SEALs. Quit tomorrow. Every day you wake up, you quit tomorrow. Make it through the day, you can quit tomorrow. And you find yourself 3 or 4 days into this, they talked about, and you realize you can do it and you can just make it to tomorrow. And once you kind of get that mindset of that mental toughness of, I'm going to make it to tomorrow. I'm going to put this work in. I'm going to get some rest, and I'm going to make it to tomorrow. You find yourself in a really healthy headspace of, I'm pushing myself to my limits, and I'm okay. I'm good because I know I'm going to make it to tomorrow. And this might not reach out to a lot of our younger members who may listen to this, but as a high school coach, I know how it is. I know how it is for my players. I love my players to death, and I'm really close with them. And I just share this for some of our high school guys and any parents who might be feeling this too. There's a lot of pressure on that too when parents kind of start to hear about the scholarships and they have aspirations for their kids as well and where they want them to go with their careers. Make it to tomorrow. Don't look so far ahead. Don't think about what's to come, but just make it to tomorrow, and you're going to be okay. And that kind of keeps that enthusiastic attitude towards it, because every day is a new day and all you got to do is make it to the next day. And that really helps athletes kind of focus and lock in that focus. And Obviously, you've seen a lot of people come out of that Navy SEAL program who are the most mentally tough people that a lot of people want to learn from. And I think that's just a good little easy way to kind of help your mind adjust that perspective that we continue to talk about.
I for sure feel that my brother was in the Marine Corps. So just hearing about, they have a crucible as well, where it's basically 48 hours of you're in live combat. You're getting treated like you're the scum of the earth. Like you definitely you don't know if you want to be there or not. And at the end of that 48 hours that you're going to be a normal human, because that whole time you've been in Marine Corps training, you've been treated like you're nothing. And then once you're in that 48 hours, the worst possible time of your life. But as soon as you're on that jog home, it's like you get a whole sense of relief when you get that globe and anchor, and everything ends up being worth it. And you know that everything in the past is in the past. You put that hard work in, and you know that only made you better from there forward.
100%. So just keep working. It'll get better. We promise. Just keep working. And next thing is we have on our READY acronym is A. It's real simple: accountability. How are you holding yourself accountable? And are you making sure that you're doing what you need to do to get better and grow? And what I can kind of suggest for this is find someone who's willing to share that with you. Find someone who's willing to be accountable with you and hold you accountable as well. It makes it a lot easier. You can kind of drive yourself a little into a loop of, I got to get up today. But when you know so-and-so is going to meet you there, it just pushes you a little bit further. When you know someone's going to be rebounding for you when you're shooting those 100 free throws, it makes you feel a little better. When you know someone's going to share that same preparation or read that book with you or talk to the coach right after you or with you about a meeting that you feel like your team can go in a better direction if you all were able to do this or that, or feel like you can do it alongside somebody, it's really going to help your accountability stay consistent and 100%. And that's just kind of, it's a very vulnerable spot to be put into. But if you're willing to take that step, I guarantee you there are a lot of teammates who won't tell you no, because they're waiting for the same thing. They just they might not have had the courage to step up and say, hey, I'd like you to do this with me. For whatever reason, some of our guys kind of get embarrassed by hard work and kind of wanted to share that with other people. But I always encourage our guys, hey, if you want to put in some hard work, go ahead and do it alongside one another. Don't feel like you have to do it alone. So just kind of holding yourself accountable, 1, and 2, maybe doing it with somebody else will really help as well.
I love that. That brings me back to the Kobe Bryant story when he was in the Olympics, and he'd tell them, hey, I'll meet you guys in the gym at 6:00. And the guys would get there at 6:00, and he's already been there for like an hour and a half, drenched in sweat. And then everybody's like, all right, how are you getting here? They'd get here at 5:30. He's still there. So everybody would get there naturally earlier and earlier. And you saw that Olympic team, it just made them a juggernaut, and it made every player better. It made them better personal wise, on the court wise. It held everybody to a higher standard.
100%. And another good Kobe story, Gordon Hayward before his injury. A lot of people forget how good that guy was. That guy was good. He could play some ball, man. I mean, I won't say he was Luka level, but he was one of the rising stars in the NBA, and he was really persistent early in his career. And he had reached out to Kobe, kind of got his number from somebody, and I'm sure Kobe didn't give his number out a lot. So he texted Kobe. He said, hey, I'd like to come work out with you. And Kobe said, all right, meet me in the gym at 5:00 in the morning, next morning. Gave him the address. He found his way there at 5:00. Kobe didn't show up. He was like, what's going on? Why is he not here? I've heard he's a super hard worker. Maybe, he's just a little bit older in his career. It is what it is. I understand. Like, it's no biggie. I'm not going to get mad at Kobe. Right? And so he texts Kobe, like, where are you at? And Kobe said, all right, I know you're good. I know you're good to go. I'll see you tomorrow at 5. He said he showed up the next morning at 5. Kobe puts him through this great workout. And, it's just the willingness to see that you're willing to put in that work. That's also another thing a lot of coaches want to see. They just want to see you're willing. Are you willing to text your coach, hey, can you open up the gym on Saturday morning so I can get some shots up? You might be able to come into the great Shoot 360 Louisville facility and get shots up, but sometimes you got to please your coach over pleasing Coach Will, Coach Blake, Coach Daza, Coach Jay, Coach Scotty to come in and get some shots up. Sometimes you got to take the sacrifice and go get some shots up at the gym with your coach, or get a little 30-minute workout in, wherever that might be. And that's just kind of that's that accountability for yourself.
For sure.
100%. And moving on, we have D. And for me, this, Coach Blake, we talked about this a little bit, and I think just the fitting word is determined. And it kind of just aligns with everything that we talked about. You're determined in your accountability. You're determined in your enthusiasm. You're determined in your responsibility for your preparation. You're determined through all of that. You want it that bad. And there are going to be days where you might not want it. You just want to fold in. And trust me, I get it. It's hard. It's not easy, but that's where the grind comes in that we talked about. Enthusiastic about that grind. You got to be determined about the grind too. You got to be determined towards your accountability, determined towards making sure that you're putting yourself in positions to succeed. And it takes a little bit more than just your average work. You got to get out of your comfort zone. And last but not least, Coach Blake, I'm not going to lie, there are the why words out there.
We're Googling them all.
We did some looking. We did some research. So I don't want everybody thinking Coach Will's a Harvard scholar. I know nobody thinks that, but I just had to put it out there. If you were, you were wrong. So we yearning to learn. And so just really wanting to learn all the time is super important. And guess what? You might have to learn how to be determined. It's not just a natural thing that a lot of people can do. You might have to learn how to hold yourself accountable. Find yourself in different scenarios, hold yourself to a different standard, find ways to be creative in the way that you do everything. Find ways to learn to be enthusiastic. Not everyone's just the happiest person in the world. The smile on their face doesn't always come as easy as some others does. And so you got to learn, read, watch. TED Talks are easy. I'm not going to lie. TED Talks are easy to go watch to learn a lot of this stuff. There are TED Talks for everything. And you can go watch a 10-minute TED Talk, and they'll give you the most outstanding information. And they're an actual Harvard graduate talking to you, most likely. Not Coach Will talking about yearning to learn, okay? So it's just making sure that you're putting yourself in positions to learn and to be successful, and you just have to continue to be that sponge that you talk about, Coach Blake.
Yeah, I love being that sponge. Just even if you're watching, anything you watch on TV, you can be watching interviews of somebody that has been there and done that, and just kind of gain the grasp of what it takes to be in that exact position. That's really what I love to do, is just hear from as many people that have accomplished what I've looked at my entire life, tried to learn about, and just pick their brain about. So I think that is one of the easiest ways to learn to grow, for sure. Yearn to grow.
Yearn to grow. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah. And I know a lot of people, it's one of those things you don't really ever think about, but every person started at the ground level when it came to learning something. All it came down to was their persistence and their yearning to continue to learn. They were just willing to keep learning over and new and try and fail. And, people talk about Picasso painted 300 paintings or something crazy. I'm sure it might've been more. I'm probably butchering this, before he sold his first painting for like $5. I'm pretty sure. It's just the level of greatness that people want to achieve. It doesn't come quick. It comes at the yearning to fail and to learn and continue to grow. And this is why we kind of put this acronym together, is just to continue to give you a footstep. Maybe some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier wasn't really resonating, or it's stuff that you've been through and have handled, but maybe you need to feel like you need a step-by-step process for your preparation coming up this season. Well, we've given it to you. Okay, so again, this is a perfect example of taking advantage of what we're given, and hopefully that our members can run with it and really continue to grow, because it's a lot of fun to see.
Most definitely. Love the acronym, especially the yearning to grow, baby. Yearning to learn. Can't get
Yearning to learn. There we go. All right. Well, Coach Blake, it has been another amazing episode, and we continue to grow and yearning to learn as we continue to do our podcast. And maybe we'll take a little ready acronym with us as well moving forward. But just kind of leaving our members with that question of the questioner challenge of the week, the 2 weeks until we post our next episode. For me, I just kind of challenge you, if you've kind of branched out and you know your role, or you've talked to a coach about your role, watch at least 5 minutes of highlights a day of a player who has perfected and done that role at a collegiate or professional level. It can be a European player, it can be a college player, it can be an NBA player, G League. Really do some deep research on some of the best players at that role and that position, and find someone who you feel like you can really relate to or like, and do some deep dive studying on it.
Love it. And question that I'm going to leave for people, it's going to go with the READY acronym that we have, but it's going to be more about building that responsibility for your preparation. And what I mean by that is, once we're getting all that preparation ready, what does that look like? So when we get into the first practice, we get there, are we doing our ball handling, getting into shooting? Do we have that strict regimen of how we think we're going to improve throughout that season?
100%, Coach Blake. That's a great question, and we're going to continue to power away and continue to provide our members with as much information as we can, because we want you all to continue to learn and yearn to learn. So, Coach Blake, that was a great episode today. Really appreciate you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody listening.
Shoot 360 family, I hope you all enjoyed episode 8 of the Unlock Your Game podcast. Coach Blake and I really worked hard on making sure that we provide you all with the best information possible for this past week. And we just continue to challenge you all to grow and get better, and to continue to want to yearn to learn, as we talked about today. Please comment, like, subscribe on our YouTube and our Spotify channels. The links will be in the description if you all want to check us out on Spotify as well. We also have our Twitter account, Unlock Pod 360. We have scheduling updates as well as highlights and just snippets of our podcast. Feel free to give that a follow, and you all have a great week. Appreciate you.